Hello, bring the girls. Hello, ladies. Let me pin the topic. Right away before we start today's session. How to control your emotion will be the subject of today. So I'm pinning it right now. How to control your emotion. Right. So hello ladies. Welcome at Bring the Girls. If you are new to this platform, welcome. If you are returning, welcome as well. I hope you're doing well on this Wednesday. Again, just a short description of what we're doing here and why we're doing what we're doing. Bring the Girls is a platform, a community of strong women that decide to stand together, share experiences to enhance our tomorrow. So most of you know we are present on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So I recommend you to check each of the platforms because they kind of have a slightly different interaction. But if you are new to this platform, again, welcome. I hope that you find some value in this platform. I hope that you find a community and especially a sense of family. Every week we make a live. The platform is conducted both in English and in French, so mainly in French for the past month or so, but we're dedicated to give our English queen the chance to also learn about what we're doing and hear from them. So I welcome you here again. Sorry, I have a dog, so you'll figure out how difficult it is to work with him, but hopefully we're good. So like I said, we conduct the live every week in French. We're trying to do now French and English and have all the live that we do in French also conducted in English so that you have the benefit of giving your opinion or being part of the communication that we have. Today we will be discussing how to control our emotion. The reason that we picked that topic is because it's very important for any woman to control her emotion. It's even more important for a strong woman to be able to distinguish her emotion and actually act on it accordingly to the result that she would like to have. So I will share with you in a matter of, 30-40 minutes maximum, depending on your engagement and depending on what is at stake, how to control your emotion. But first, let me put the timer so I know how much time it takes. Give me a minute. All right, we should have about 40 minutes of conversation or so. So hang tight, have some drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's do it. Controlling your emotion as a woman is very important. It is even more important when you really want to make the best out of it and stay on top of your game. I will define quickly what each word means before we start because that will give us the background and the basis for our conversation. Control. What do we mean by control? By control, we mean being. Did I put 4 minutes or 4 seconds? I think I did. Anyway, we'll get there. So, by controlling, we mean. Hello, Chico, how are you? By controlling, we mean being on top of. The situation that you have in hand. Being above the situation, being able to actually navigate the situation without having, hey Chef Aman, without having to pull your nerve or actually have a headache about it. By emotion, we mean any feeling that actually derives from a situation that you're living. So let's say you receive a news from your job that you get hired or you get promoted. The emotion that will be linked to that will probably be joy. So it's anything that is triggering in your body or in your mind that make you act according. Hold on, let me check. I think I messed up the timer. Give me a minute. We should be cool now. We should be cool. So, I apologize for the mess up. So, by emotion, we mean any feeling that we have that is as of reaction of the situation that we're living, okay? So, today we're going to talk about how to control our emotion because, again, as a woman, we tend to be more reactive to certain situations than men. Let's be objective. I say mostly reactive. That doesn't mean that all the women are very emotional like we think or the society wants us to believe, or all men are very rational. It's just like with our hormone and body change, we tend to be more inclined to have an issue with our emotion. So we'll take full power of those emotions. And again, before we even start and before we get into the subject, I want to remind you that Bring the Girls is not telling you not to have emotion, not to express them. We're actually saying the opposite, which is please express your emotion, but know when to express them, how and when. So we're going to talk about, first of all, the control part. Like you may know, to be able to control someone or something, you need to know that thing, right? So you cannot control something that you don't know. That's the reason that the first step for you will be to identify your emotion. It may be basic for some of you, it may be repetitive from others, or it could be actually new to some women. Regardless of what stage you are, please take note that identifying your emotion meaning being able to name them, being able to recognize them from far away. I'll give you an example. Some people may not know that they're going through anger. They will think that it's frustration. They will think that it's denial. Sometimes you go through a lot of like happiness. You're not really sure that if you are thrilled or if you are just like casually happy about the situation. So it's important to control your emotions. So for the people here, let me know if you hear me fine. I can't really tell. Just what? I would assume it's fine. Okay. Okay, it's fine. So by being able to name your emotion, by being able to point finger to your emotion, you will be able not to be dictated by it. Right? So what I advise you to do today is to go through the full list of your day and be able to tell what you have been going through. For example, in my case, I would take, I guess today, I wake up very happy. I was on the phone with most of my family members here in the US or back home in Cote d'Ivoire. I was able to get some gift or at least idea of gift to my mom that make me very excited and happy. She asked me to pick some from my friends. I feel very, home. I feel welcome. I feel cherished and loved, right? Then when I finish, I have another call for a gig that I'm working on, for which I receive a positive feedback. So I was excited about the call. I feel full of power, in my control. I have everything get together. I was ready for that interview. Okay, I was ready. I spent time talking to my aunt, planning about meeting the end of the week. We have all those gists we want to share. I talked to my best friend back home. I have like a lot of hope, a lot of small downtime where I was like, oh, should I have done this? Should I have shared that information? But that's just life. The point is, When I'm asking you to identify your emotion, the point is to be able to point them by the finger and say, this is joy, this is anger, this is frustration, this is happiness, oh, this is doubt, this is uncomfort, this is hurt. The point, know, be able to give a name to them. I hope so far so good. The second thing that you want to do when you name your emotion is to be able to categorize and put them in category. Excuse my French. You want to put them in category because you want to be able to tell, you know, what emotion is into the positive side or the negative side. Again, I'm not asking you to withdraw yourself from the negative side. I just want you to know what that emotion is to you. Because some people would use, for example, being stressed as a positive emotion, when others would decide that stress is a negative emotion. So what is it for you? For Helen, for example, being stressed sometimes challenge me to just do things last minute, procrastination, I'm sorry. Sometimes it could be good to be preparing in time. So what you're going to do on that step 2 is to pretty much put each of your emotions in a box. You will decide that, okay, I'm going to categorize sadness into the negative part and happiness into the positive part. Some of them will be basic, but I swear to God, if you were to do that, assignment at peace, at rest, you will notice that some of those emotions that you consider negative are actually positive, because step number 3 come, you will know why. So once you name your emotion, make sure to categorize them into, you know, different set of feeling, positive and negative, so you know. The third step is to actually know what caused those emotions, which is the emotion is technically the result, is technically considered as the consequences of a situation that we see earlier. But what causes those feeling is really what you want to pinpoint. I will give you an example. I told you earlier, for example, that I talked to my mom and we're talking about gift, right? My birthday is coming up, by the way, August. But I was talking about gift. So I was happy. I was happy for 2 different reasons. Because I was talking to someone that I love, my mom, and I was talking about gift. I love gift. So the results of talking to my mom bring me joy, right? Talking to my sister, my dad, it brings me joy. But the why it brings me joy is because I feel connected to them. So there is a cause and effect relationship between what you feel and how you react to it. So my point today is, as you actually feeling those emotions, as you actually going through the process of it, hello, Terina, hi. So as you're actually going through the processing those emotions by themselves, you really want to make sure that you are in the mindset of looking for the cause. So the next time that you have that same emotion, you can pinpoint that, okay, because I'm talking to my mom, I know I will be happy. There will be that time where I talk to her where I will not necessarily be happy, but that's fine. You will just be able to identify what trigger your emotion, the positive and the negative, okay? That's step number 3. Once you have done that, and when I mean do it, I'm not saying that take one day and then just brush it up and then leave. I'm talking about taking a deep moment within yourself at the end of the day to write down all your emotions of the day, to list them, categorize them, and find the reason why you felt the reason why you felt. The purpose of this exercise is for you not to go through the same pattern of repeating the emotion without pretty much knowing why it makes you a certain way. That way, not only do you know the emotion, but do you know how to control yourself when those emotions come. Because guess what? Even in terms of happiness, you'll be surprised. There's few things that you shouldn't do. In terms of sadness, there's few things that you shouldn't do. So because an emotion is positive doesn't mean that it will not hurt you. Because an emotion is negative doesn't mean that it will not favor you. So you want to be in a situation where whatever the emotion is to come to you, you have a certain level of, you know, taking a distance, looking at it closely, and actually being able to tell if you really want to master that emotion or you want to let it go. That's a decision that you make on a daily basis, but the more you practice on actually writing down your emotion, the more you decide that you're going to be in control, the more you make that assignment to actually write down those steps that I share with you, the less likely you will be actually going with the wave and, you know, bouncing back and then being in trouble. Hey Melissa, welcome. Congratulations again on your graduation, by the way. I still ought to reply to you. I'm going to do that after the live, promise, but congratulations, my love. Okay, so what I was saying is make sure that you do not take that exercise lightly. You would think that, okay, I'm just going to do it once in a while. No. If you want to control your emotion, you want to pretty much sit and look at yourself like the same way you look at yourself in your mirror and decide, oh, I have a pimple here and what. You have to be able to do and know your emotion by heart. So no matter the situation, no matter the people that are actually coming in your life, coming, going, leaving and entering, you'll remain the same. You're welcome, my love. So once you do those 3 first steps, I will share with you a few situations where it's very important as a woman to know to take some distance, right? Like I was telling you, some positive emotions are not necessarily good for you if you act on it immediately. Aisha, welcome. If you act on it immediately. So, for example, one advice that I will give always is never to make promises when you are too happy. Let's say today you wake up, tomorrow you wake up and somebody gave you $2 billion. We all know, I'm going shopping of course, but we all know that you're going to be a new person. You will have all those goals in mind, and probably depending on your heart and the type of person you are, you can make promises to 10,000 people saying that you're going to help them, when it's because you're just happy for the moment of being richer that you decide to share those promises. So one of the things that, if you look at prior video from Bring the Girl, we're saying, do not make promises when you are too happy. Because you will wake up the next day and realize that, oh, well, maybe I was drunk in my emotion and make those promises. One of the things that a woman should always maintain is self-respect. Not only for her, but the respect that she receives from people. Making promises that you're not going to validate is not really it's not cool, not only, but it doesn't bring any respect to you, nor the people that are around you. So when you're happy, please snooze, wait, think through it, write it down if you want, and that's the step 4 we're going to talk about, but do not make that promises yet until you're sure you're going to make it through. Same thing on the other hand. Should you be sad, do not make decision. I know we have everything going through. Even when we have our cycle, we tend to be so miserable. I tend to be so miserable and sad. But this is not the moment for you to cut everyone in your world and think that everyone hates you and remember somebody in 7th grade that hurt you. Sometimes it's just hormone. All you need is rest, drink some water, go for a walk. You will be fine. If you think that you're really, sad and depressed, write down those emotions. Talk to someone that you know. Just exercise on your breathing. Inhale, exhale. Those type of exercise that look like micro and not very important actually make a difference when you're sad versus when you're depressed. Okay, so when you're actually sad and you have to talk to someone that probably wasn't even part of the sadness, remember that God has mentioned, I have to take it, I have to cool down, I have to write it down, I have to take a minute. I should not make a decision while I'm still sad. I hope he had. Talking about that number 1 strategy, because now we're going to share a few strategies about, in the mix of the feeling, how to control those emotions. Now that we know how to name them, how to categorize them, how to actually put them into like the left, the right, like the good, the bad, and how to react to each, we're going to have some specific tool that would help us navigate our emotion and be in better control. The number one tool, at least I will speak from my experience, for people that are new here, again, all the life that we share are either something that I personally learned that made me better, or at least are making me better, or something that I've learned from elder or even younger that I've actually practiced and are helping for me. So nothing on here will be something that you will see on Google, or probably you will go and Google, because there's no point in building community if everything's already there. So we speak by experience. So when I'm speaking by experience, remember that this is my experience. It may not be yours, but I will respect yours, you will respect mine, hopefully. So the number one thing that you will do about your emotion, good or bad or neutral, is to write them down. You want to write them down because you want to remember everything that happened. You want to have the facts. You want to remember the actor who was actually there at the time you felt that emotion, who wasn't there at the time you felt that emotion, who triggered those emotions, who actually escaped from those emotions. You really don't want to be in a situation and then be mad at the whole world when it was probably one person that hurt you and we have nothing to do with it. There's a sentence that I like the most that say, do not bleed on people that didn't hurt you. Pretty much, it's easy to blame someone that was never part of your situation because you didn't, you're not seeing clear, you didn't speak your mind, you didn't do that step back of the situation, so now you're mad at the whole world. Most women you will know will mention, for example, when they go to heartbreak that, oh, men are trash. Men are not trash. You met probably one person that hurts you, write it down. Take a moment, discuss with friends if you have, pray about it if you need to, but do not make any type of generality out of a specificity. It's easy to say you will tell me, but the more you practice taking time and writing down, I promise, the more you will feel comfortable separating yourself from the situation and making the decision in the middle. Which brings us to point number 2, which is take some time. Though I mentioned you want to write your emotion right away so you remember all the circumstances around it, some people will record themselves, you don't have to write, depending on what, get easier to your mind. Sometimes I speak to my friends, sometimes I write down, depending on the sensitivity of the topic, you will find what is best for you, okay? Depending on whether you're visual or you're more intuitive, counterintuitive, depending on the situation, you will know. For example, I wouldn't advise you go and, if you're married, talk about your partner to all your friends or family, because that will portray a different side of that person, and you may not want to do that early unless you have made a decision. So in your processing time, figure out a way to actually, concentrate your energy on the positive, even though it's bad. And when I say positive, it doesn't mean that you have to turn into positive, but be productive about that emotion and what you're actually going through. Which brings us to point number 2. Do get distracted. And I don't know how else to say it. I will take an example of kid. It's easy when you go, for example, to a supermarket with kids, they may be attracted to one product and then you will be like, oh, but here is the food, and they will switch the emotion to that moment. Kids are easy to get distracted. As adults, we have so much going through, it's hard for us to focus on something else when we have a situation in front of us. Practice being inactive. And as a feminine woman, that's so much important. Yes, you want to be a leader. Yes, you want to take care of your life. Yes, you want to move forward. But sometimes, trust me, the best thing you can do for yourself today is to not do anything. Just be in that moment. Write down, breathe, distract yourself. Okay, I'm giving an example. You're going through a breakup, or you're going to, let's say, a breakup. So at this moment, you can't think of anything. Everything is like blurry to you. Focus on the next best thing that is going on. You may have just started a career. You may have just, graduate from school. You may have just have, a new puppy. I don't know. There must be something going on at the same, because life is not only a, one-man show. There's multiple parts of your life that are going at the same time. You may have gained weight or lost weight. You may want to go to the gym. You couldn't go to the gym. There is a lot of action. Hey, Flora, hey, Awa, hey, Asa. There is a lot of action that generally goes at the same time in your life. So when you're focusing on that bad. I know you joined the right. Oh Jesus, I was supposed to tell you. Yeah. Pardon. Like I apologize. I forgot. Today I didn't even send anything to anyone because it was in English. I beg, oh, I'm sorry. I publicly say I'm sorry. Next time I will remember. Hey, I forget again. I'm sorry, I beg, I'm sorry. Next time I will remember. That's my mind, old, like being old. Okay. Welcome. Thank you for joining. So like I was saying, please, put the notification. That would help me. Please put everyone put the notification. Every time you see me, put the notification, because my brain can think of something. By the time I come here, I would start. I wouldn't want to be long. I will forget. Okay. I was on point what? Point 2. Yeah, distract. Be distracted and at least focus on something else than the emotion that you're going through. So what I was saying that, for example, I'm thinking French because I see French people. Jesus. For example, you actually going through the breakup, like I said, but that's not the only thing going on in your life. Most of the time, you still going to school, probably. You still have your job to maintain. If you have kids, you still have to take care of them. If you have parents that are old enough, you have to take care of them. So you cannot really allow your mind to focus on being sad because of the breakup. I'm not saying neglect it or forget it. Do the first point that you mentioned, which is writing about it, but be in movement. Not taking action in one side of your life, meaning your relationship, doesn't mean that you shouldn't take action in other side of your life. Being inactive in your relationship, or at least in your emotional state in terms of like the relationship that you're bringing, shouldn't prevent you from moving to the next level. For example, you have a business that you have always wanted to do. That's the time to do. Maybe a friend of you, like for example, reached out to me at the time to talk about life insurance. This is the time for you to make more money. This is the time for you to take that trip that you wanted. Distract yourself at most, because you never know what that over move will bring. Hey Ines, my sister, come on, wow. By the way, that's my little sister, guys. Anyway. So distract yourself and keep moving into one direction so you don't feel like you get stuck, because there is nothing that is productive into your mind thinking that, oh my God, I cannot move, I'm stuck here, this is it. So give yourself a moment to tackle that emotion later on. Write about it, pray about it if you need to, talk about it to the people that you trust, but keep moving on the other side of your life, which will give you the momentum to actually tackle it later. So again, I know as a woman in 22nd century, it's really hard to say chill, but I will say that again, please chill. Not everything has to be done today. Not everything has to be discussed today. That's something I have to learn for myself. There is some conversation that are better off handled later. We have the urge to be like, oh, I need to take action now, because if I don't, it will show like I don't care, or maybe I'm not the alpha female, I don't know, like you feel like you have to fix it. Slow down. That's the best moment to slow down. Especially if the person that you want to fix it, let's say in the heartbreak situation, you want to talk to your boyfriend or fiance or husband, whatever, that expressing your feeling, and you notice that the person is not receptive. Remember this video. Chill. Let it go. Just do something else. Go clean the house. Go out with your friend. Just focus on yourself for a moment. I swear to God, there is nothing worse than trying to force a conversation on someone that doesn't want to listen. It will trigger something out of you. You will say words that you didn't mean. You may be emotional about it. You will even end up weaker than you're supposed to be. So please, soft life also means being soft with yourself. Accept that you may not fix everything today. Accept that tomorrow will be there and you will have an occasion to do. And probably the person is doing the same exercise like you, which is backing themselves from the situation, distancing themselves from the situation to tackle it better. So, like we say in French, recule pour mieux sauter. I don't know how to say in English, but it's pretty much take some step back and jump further. So remember, distract yourself, accept that the situation stays still, continue to move forth. The third thing that I advise also, as you're in the midst of the emotion, besides, writing about it, acknowledging it, and then also distracting yourself, is to pretty much, how would I put it? It's really also coming to being feminine, and maybe with age, you know, giving yourself the time. I'm not saying the same thing I was saying before. The first thing I was saying is accept to be still and keep moving on the opposite direction or whatever direction you're moving. This time I'm telling you to give yourself the time. To give the time for the situation to unravel. There is some situation that would unravel if you don't do anything. I will give you an example. You apply for a job. You're very looking for that job because it's going to give you the resources to get to your next apartment, next house, travel, change the city, whatever it is, and big life or dream you want to be. You cannot stress in advance, right? You cannot pretty much be above and beyond what you currently should be doing to get a feedback from your employer in that case. You just have to accept the fact that while you're applying for that new job, nothing's going to come out. Of course, the emotion that you're going to have is stress because you don't know if you will get the feedback, you don't know if you did perform well. There's a lot of uncertainty for which anybody would be stressed about. Just remember, there's nothing you can do about it. And the best thing you can do is to keep moving. This is not about distraction. This is about just keep moving. That's the reason why, in order to control your emotion, it's very important to know your goals. If you do not have any goals in mind, you're not going to succeed. I'm not going to say you will fail, but you're not going to succeed as much as your potential. Because if you have your goal on your emotional level, professional level, physical level, on your health, on your friendship, your relationship with God, you cannot be stuck in one specific moment. Because you know that time is the most important resource, and the time that you're taking to be stuck is something that you can use to move forward. So remember, an answer, not having an answer today doesn't mean that you're not going to have an answer at all. It just means that you need to practice on your patience and you need to practice on setting goals. Sometimes we feel stuck by ourselves because we have no goal setting. We're waiting on someone else, parent, friend, partner, to give us the next goal to accomplish. Why don't you accomplish something? Why don't you think of, oh, I have that talent, let me start something? Being idle is the worst of any emotion. Being idle is the worst. So I would recommend you, in order to control your emotion, is to have goals that will keep you together, that will keep your head grounded. Correct. Because if you have things to do, trust me, you're not going to waste your time trying to navigate all those craziness. When you see craziness, like I told you, when you identify anything that look, sound, feel, or smell crazy, you're going to find the escape room and keep going. So again, ladies, make sure, please, that you actually define your goal and act accordingly. That's very important. I don't know if any of you has a question so far, so I can slow down and answer. But I'm pretty much, at this point, I gave you at least most of the mistakes that I personally have done, which is not trying to give the time to actually have my emotion processed in my mind and trying to tackle them right away, which was number one. Forcing into making sure that I'm heard and my emotions are valid and expressing them at the time I want it without listening to the person in front of me. Mistake number two. Not setting up goals because supposedly I have to tackle it now and now, so I don't have time, nor do I care about what's coming next. Mistake number three. So as you actually process your emotion, as you want to control your emotion, again, know them. Know thyself, and then know your goal. Because if you have those in mind, you're not going to be distracted by the first thing that comes, and even when it comes, you will know how to balance it. Let me read. Flora, my beautiful woman. Hey, to you, like your post, my God, please guys, go follow this woman. Every time I wake up and I see her post, I feel like I'm in a magazine. Anyway, out of context, but go follow Flora Yapi. We can also feel and acknowledge that we are dealing with this and knowing it does not define us. Once it's done, we can move on. Yes, I love your answer. I'll repeat it again. We can also feel and acknowledge that we are dealing with this quote-unquote emotion and knowing it does not define us. Once it's done, we can move on. Yes, that brings me, thanks God you mentioned, because that brings me to one point I forgot to mention, which is the rule of 5. In French, I don't know how to say, thanks God the life is not in French. We call it the rule of 5, which means do not spend, in practice at least, do not spend more than 5 minutes worrying about something that wouldn't matter in 5 years. Again, the question for you could be like, how do I know it's not going to worry me in 5 years? It won't. I'm telling you, it will not. Whatever you're going through today would not matter as much in 5 years. So sometimes when you want to pick fights, sometimes when you want to be triggered, sometimes when you remember that you're coming out of your way, think of the rule of 5. If it wouldn't matter in 5 years, don't sweat more than 5 minutes. Maybe you can say 5 hours. I don't know. But the point is, don't sweat it too long because it's going to pass. When time passes, it's going to be good. And like Flora mentioned, your emotions do not define you. That's the reason why, like I was saying in the first step, it's important to not only identify them, but to also categorize them and know what trigger you. Because depending on the emotion and the trigger, you can tell this is not me. Like me on a regular, I wouldn't lash out at that person. If you know yourself, like I said, and you know you're a respectful person, and for example, you lash out on someone, go back and don't say, like, don't be blaming yourself like, oh, I changed or whatever. No. Look at everything, like I mentioned before, the surrounding, what was around you, what was, who was there for you, who pushed your trigger, what trigger they push, because it will tell you more about what actually is for you to wash out than if you have changed or not. Because most likely than not, you haven't changed. You just grow and you have boundaries that have been set, right? If you want matter in 5 years, 5 hours and 5 minutes, depend on the emotion. Correct. Keep on the emotion. Exactly that. So I feel like, in a nutshell, truly knowing who we are and knowing the emotion we go through. And again, one of the things that I want to add is your emotion will keep growing. In French, we call it champ lexical. In English, I don't know how to say, but it's like the group of emotion that you even go through on a daily basis will never be the same. When we grew up, and at least when we were a baby, all we knew was crying, looking for something to eat, looking for someone to hold, looking for approval from our parents. When we start being a teenager, we're looking for a group that we can recognize as friendship. When we went to work, we're looking for a clique or people that we can look up to, a mentor. So if you notice, even through your progress of life, your emotion, you keep adding new emotion based on what level you have been through. So sometimes you look at people, you're like, oh, she knows how to handle emotion much more. I'm not saying that when you're older, you're supposed to be better at handling your emotion, but chances are that because of what you have been through and your stage of life, you handle an emotion better than when you were before. I will give you an example. When you are not married, hey, there's some emotion that you actually go through that when you are married, you can no longer go through those emotions. I swear to God, at least if you want to stay in a healthy marriage, there is some emotion that as a married woman, you will no longer experience after a certain level of marriage life. Hey, Boon Life, she may confirm, but there is some I won't call stupid, but there's some emotion that used to be like triggering you that now you like, oh, wow. Me 5 years ago, that comment, I would have snapped on the person. And now you realize that, okay, it doesn't even bother me. Because like I said, you have a bigger goal in your mind. And you can no longer afford to be as epidemic as before. So like be gentle with yourself. It'll be like Flora was saying, it does not define you. There is a lot of emotion that when you go through now, you just like, this was me 10 years ago. I will not allow it to happen again. But that's a choice that you make. So controlling your emotion, this is an important part. is not something that you get up and like, oh yeah, I control my emotion. That's a decision that you make. That takes a lot of compromise, but that pretty much controlling and having power over your own self. If you were crazy before, at least people call you crazy before. If you were a fighty person, if you were shy, a lot of situations will put you in a position where the shyness is gone. Like it's a sentence I will tell you. My aunt tell me, once you're married or once you have, there's for people that are over 21 here, once you have slept with a man before, you can no longer be shy. If you haven't, you can be shy, but once two people have seen each other naked, the shyness is gone. So there is part of some emotion that come naturally depending on the stage of life. So to each level, the struggle. So remember, don't compare yourself to people that feel like, oh, I'm still in my emotion. Please live your emotion fully. You are entitled to it. When it will be the time, you will no longer have those emotions. You will go out of it. Another one is going to catch you up there. That doesn't mean it's better, but there will be another level of emotion that is waiting for you. Flora, you say different level, plus is your husband. You snap on him after you go to sleep in the same bed. Exactly. Where are you going to go? You snap, you come back, you sleep in here. Ah, what's the point of snapping out? Meanwhile, before, when you're dating, you snap, you go at your house, you close your phone, you block him, you can reply in 3 months. When you're married, hey, you still have to cook. This house has to be clean. If you have done, you still have to take care of your kid. So by the time you finish snapping, you just like, that's a waste of time. We'll just talk about it in 3 days. Maturity, man. Maturity. Intentional control over yourself. Me, I will be shy in my death. Yeah, right. You shy and then we see those pictures of you. So stay shy, please. We need that shy, because when you're no longer shy, I don't know what we're going to see. Please stay shy. Be like that shyness. This controlled shyness and openly shyness, keep it. So again, I don't know if there is any situation that you share, but I remember that me, that's another live that we'll do anyway. So I'm not going to share too much, because two or three women reached out to me to mention how to actually express the emotion, because it makes sense, because some people, even myself before, I didn't know how to express my emotion. I was pretty much a blank paper. Do whatever you have to do on me. I'm not going to tell you. You cannot tell if I'm mad or shy. I mean, you can tell, because my face would show. My face, I cannot, like, this is bad, because when I'm mad, it shows. When I'm happy, it shows. Even if I want to control it, my face is going to show what is going inside. And I need to work on that personally. So if anybody has advice on that, let me know. But my face, you're going to read this person is not happy. That's why I like not putting camera. Let's talk. Let's test. Even by test, sometimes you can tell I'm mad. People that know me, when I test and I put certain word, you know that this woman is mad. But this is another story. What I'm saying is, like, talking about testing, because that's the area of testing. So I guess that may be a good advice. One of my aunts, Aida can mention, because we are cousins. So one of my aunts mentioned, and I will give her credit for that, Tata Majara. She mentioned one day to me that when you are that's what she does. She's a psychiatrist. So she knows what she's doing when we talk about mental health. So I remember one day she gave me that advice that sometimes when she's not happy, what she does is, you know, somebody send you a text, you're so mad, you're like, I'm going to reply now. Before your phone even die, you want to reply. Remember that advice that she gave me that helped me. She tests the person back. No, let me take it back, because in English is word. She tests what she wants to send to the person, right? And instead of hitting send, she doesn't hit send. Meaning that she never sent the text. But whatever she has in mind to tell the person, she writes it down on the phone. Like, let's say I'm talking to Love, because that's her name, Good Life. Her name is actually Love. She did something to me, I'm so mad. It's 11 p.m., maybe it's 4 p.m. on her time. I want to reply right now, like doing tit for tat. That's another thing. So instead, I will remember that, hey, maybe tomorrow I will wake up, I won't like what I'm sending, or she won't like it, it's going to be something else. I will still send everything that I want to send. but I won't click on send. So she never received it. But at least I put my emotion out, I wrote that down. It make me feel like I send it to her, but I've never sent it to her. You see the difference? I'm not saying, don't say when the girl say I have to test you right back. I'm saying, test the person, don't send the test. So it stay in the middle. By the time you sleep on it or write it down or talk through it and come back, you may change the word and make it like so the person doesn't get angry or frustrated. Okay? Please remember that. Monique, welcome. So please do not act crazy there. I never told you to be. I said we will do a live about how to express our emotion because that was a full therapy for me to even get to express my emotion and knowing how to express them. So we're going to do that live on like how to express your emotion. But I gave you already the hint of how to know your emotion and identify it. And if up to today you are like you come across that platform and you are those type of women that before wouldn't really know their emotion and wouldn't know what they're going through, which is fair. Sometimes you just got to ask. Oh, we reached 40 minutes. Guys, thanks God, so I think I'm good in time. Sometimes you just got to ask people around you, how do you think I was? If you go out and then, for example, someone later on in your group say, you were so rude. Ask a third party, it doesn't hurt. Oh, for example, we all go out and then Flora say, oh, girl, you were so rude. And I ask Aida, and Aida will say, oh no, you were fine, you were just like in your corner. I would know that it's different perception. And I will start writing and figuring out what in me make people think that I'm rude. Like here they have that expression, the resting bitch face. I think resting bitch face is pretty much woman that face is like every time. You see them in the morning, you see them happy, you see them mad. Like their face is always as if they're hungry. They call it resting bitch face. Let me close that timer. I'm coming. I'm coming, oh. So, for those type of women for which the facial expression is not really expressive, or at least doesn't look expressive because they look mad all the time, it may be difficult for you to navigate and know for people, to attract people to say, I'm happy today, come and talk to me. I'm mad, leave me alone, because your face is always, okay? So, all in all, asking for people's opinion, identifying your emotion, putting them into categories, remembering that negative emotion does not necessarily mean that it's bad, or positive emotion does not necessarily mean that it's good. Try not to make promises when you're happy. Try not to make decisions when you're mad. What else did I say? Writing down your emotion, like Flora mentioned again, making sure that you do not think that your emotion define you because they say circumstances around those emotions. And if you write them, you're going to know that this was the circumstances. And like I said, it will give you the cause and effect relationship so you don't do the same pattern over and over. And remembering your goal and where you want to head would help. I will give one advice before I leave, especially to women that are looking for relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm not talking about casual hookup, oh, let's sleep together, we bye, and then, oh, I talk to you for 30 years and we become pen pal. I'm talking about serious relationship. I beg, you have to listen to that live again. You have to write down your emotion. You have to take a step back. You have to give time for the time to do its time and fix it. Do not rush into tick or tack. I received that text, I have to reply. I've been there myself. Sometimes it's not about being submissive or not knowing your worth. Sometimes it's just your mind. You're just thinking that you're so right that you have to do the way you do it. Mettez de l'eau dans votre vin. Meaning like chill. We're going to talk about it. I'm definitely going to do a live about dating. in this date and age with social media, with people thinking that they have the right for the truth, or they're the child of God directly and everybody else is the devil. We're going to do a live for it in less than 2 weeks, where we're going to talk about dating strategically for women for which emotion can get over themselves or under themselves. Because I know what I've done myself, and I think it deserves a life by itself. So no note to take today. We're going to talk about that, but all I can say in preamble or like in ahead of that live is chill, start testing, do not send the test. If it's too bad and you trust me, send me a DM or WhatsApp, let's talk. Please do not go and put sab dans votre cherie. Do not spoil every relationship you have because you don't know how to control your emotion. By the way, if you don't know how to control your emotion, you may not want to be in a relationship. Food for thought. If you don't know how to control your emotion, you may not want to be in a relationship, at least not a healthy one. Don't go and scare somebody else's son. Let's work on your emotion. When you're ready, you will graduate and we'll send you to him, or we'll find you. We're going to get there. I know people will be mad, but you have to be ready to be ready. And you have to get ready to be ready. And you have to stay ready so you never have to be ready. I'll repeat it again later. But unless you have questions, I think I did my 40-45 minutes of live. I don't want it to be too long again, because I want to do at least every week and give you the time to actually, you know, let's talk and share. And you know, if you have any question or if you have any suggestion of topic or order of topic when it comes to expressing our emotion, dating with, you know, strategy and knowing how to tailor emotion and sharing experience with it, let me know. Of course, my DM is always open. This Saturday, we're going to talk about African family. Hey, on va me renier au Seigneur Jésus. We're going to talk about African family, European family, and American family, and the difference. Les tontons papato, les tatas papato. Ah, on va venir sur votre cas. People that do not mind their business in some country, we're going to hear from us. That's a man that suggests that topic. So I'm very excited to have him on the 23rd at 5 p.m. So I hope you guys will be there, and then we'll share our experiences about, you know, large family versus small family and the benefit of each. And unless you have a question, ladies, I think I'm done. I will see you, and it was so good to see you all, because most of you I actually haven't seen in a while. But yeah, this Saturday, if I don't bring the girl again, you know it's because somebody cut my internet. But thanks God, I'm in someone else's son's house. As long as the bill are paid, I'm going to connect myself. Maybe all they can do is remove my name that I'm removing. That's it. But no, we're going to talk about, yeah, we have to talk about family, because man, there's a lot going on depending on culture, and this needs some talk. So please share that live with people that you know around. Thank you for following Bring the Girl. Thank you for giving me all the motivation to be here. It's not easy to manage a lot of things in life, personal and here, but I love that every time I come, at least there's someone that is here to listen and get the feedback. So I want to say thank you, and if you are new to that platform, again, thank you. Whoever just joined, Sin Guy, I hope it's not Sin, like Sin, I know. Sin Guy 456, welcome here. And when you catch your live, hopefully you give me some comment of, you know, how you control your emotions, so we can all share and learn. But I will see you Saturday. The live will be in French. If you want to learn French, come. If you want to just see people laughing, just come. But I will see you. And then Flora, Aida, Monique, and Love, I think you guys are still there. If you don't have any question, I will say goodbye. I don't want to be rude. So if you go, I will say goodbye, and I will see you Saturday. Venez, viens te dire au revoir, tata. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, tata. Say goodbye. Okay. Goodbye, guys. I will see you on Saturday. And thank you for watching. Okay, you don't have a question, Flora. Thanks God. Okay. En tout cas, on attend ton shoot ta robe en vert là. We all waiting for that to share. So, say bye, Tata. Aida, say bye too. Okay, say bye, Tata Aida. I will see you on Saturday, guys. Okay, love. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. And then, if you have any topic, please share with me. I have topic for the next 3 weeks, but after that, I don't know. But by the grace of God, we're going to figure out and share because there's always something to talk about anyway. See you, and thank you for coming on Wednesday for me, and I will talk to you on Saturday. Bisous, on reste en contact. Love you guys. Ok, maintenant il doit fermer le truc.